In the early 2000s, the United States military apparatus mobilized its global resources to hunt down a single target. They pursued the perpetrator of the largest military computer intrusion in history, a breach so severe it paralyzed critical defense networks. The pursuit spanned a decade. Federal prosecutors drafted indictments carrying a potential 70-year prison sentence. The Departments of Defense and Justice spent untold millions of dollars coordinating an international legal dragnet to ensure the hacker faced an American judge. The objective was absolute prosecution. But in 2012, inside the halls of the British legal system, the momentum halted. The UK Home Secretary issued a final ruling, permanently blocking the extradition. The official justification rested on medical grounds. The suspect had been diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome and severe depression, making a high-stakes transfer across the Atlantic a lethal risk. What happened next broke every established rule of international diplomacy. The United States government, after spending 10 years aggressively chasing a conviction, they accepted the decision with total silence. They filed no formal protests. They launched no alternative legal actions. The pursuit simply vanished. Global superpowers do not typically abandon catastrophic national security breaches out of concern for a suspect's well-being. When the core defense systems of a nation are compromised, prosecution is a matter of state survival. A standard response to a blocked extradition involves endless appellate filings, diplomatic leverage, and economic pressure. Yet the Department of Justice allowed the clock to run out without a single public fight. The man at the center of this sudden retreat was Gary McKinnon, a Scottish systems administrator living in the UK. The sudden cessation of hostilities suggests a different calculus. The American intelligence community did not drop the charges because they ran out of legal options. They stopped because the mechanics of a public trial posed a far greater threat than letting the hacker walk free. 10 years earlier, in a cramped bedroom in North London, McKinnon began his infiltration. It was 2002. He operated without corporate backing, zero government support, and virtually no capital. His entire operation relied on a commercial personal computer and a standard 56K dial-up internet connection. Operating entirely alone, he systematically penetrated 97 distinct, heavily guarded American military and government network infrastructures. The intrusion compromised the highest echelons of national defense. McKinnon accessed servers at the United States Army, the Navy, the Department of Defense, and the internal networks of the Pentagon itself. Yet his methodology puzzled forensic analysts. McKinnon ignored financial data, weapons schematics, and personnel blackmail files. He was scanning the networks for specific proof that military intelligence was suppressing advanced free energy technology and evidence of unidentified flying objects. Because his objective deviated entirely from standard cybercriminal profiles, he bypassed standard defense architecture. He navigated into deeply buried administrative directories that conventional state-sponsored hackers never thought to search. His search eventually led him into the internal servers of NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. Inside the NASA network, McKinnon claimed to have intercepted satellite imagery before it was processed for public release. He described viewing raw, high-resolution photographs where specific structural anomalies had been digitally scrubbed from the frame. This network visualization reveals a spreadsheet isolated from standard military files. Titled Non-Terrestrial Officers, it listed personnel ranks and material transfers between off-world ships, an anomalous fleet operating with zero public record in any official U.S. Navy database. As he attempted to secure a full download of the visual evidence, a network administrator noticed the anomalous traffic. His connection was abruptly terminated. The remote access protocol collapsed, severing his link to the servers and instantly exposing his originating IP address in London. He lost the hard files, but he retained the precise locations, directory names, and contents of the data. That knowledge elevated McKinnon from a remote nuisance to a severe operational vulnerability for the United States military. The Pentagon immediately designated him a malicious threat. The Justice Department drafted extradition papers, initiating a massive, coordinated legal assault designed to pull him across the Atlantic and bury him in a federal penitentiary. Bringing him to trial triggered American law's unavoidable mechanism, discovery. McKinnon's defense would be granted sweeping subpoena powers, forcing the Pentagon to surrender the breached servers. This classified evidence, the unedited imagery and non-terrestrial officers spreadsheet, would bypass censors, becoming permanently accessible to journalists. A trial would back the American intelligence apparatus into a corner. Federal prosecutors would be legally required to produce the requested documents in open court, or have military officials swear under the penalty of perjury that the files did not exist. For over 20 years, State Department spokespeople and military prosecutors have maintained that McKinnon is a dangerous hacker who compromised vital defense infrastructure. Yet, across decades of press briefings, endless legal filings, and official public statements, the United States government has carefully avoided the specifics. They have never issued a formal, on-the-record denial regarding the existence of the Non-Terrestrial Officers spreadsheet or the airbrushed NASA photographs. When faced with the absolute certainty of the discovery process, the Pentagon chose to let the architect of their largest security breach live freely in the United Kingdom. The most compelling evidence supporting Gary McKinnon's claims is not a downloaded photograph or a smuggled hard drive. It is the tactical retreat of the American government. They calculated the risk, reviewed the data he found, and determined that keeping those secrets hidden was worth far more than justice.